Podcast with our host, Sherrie Price Clark from Storehouse Media. Sherrie, how are you? And who are our guests today?
Hi, Neil. I'm doing great. And I am exceptionally excited about our guests today. They are Sean and Heidi Chapman from Randomonium. Welcome, Sean and Heidi.
Hello.
Hey,
Good to see you.
Yeah.
thanks so much for having
So,
us, guys.
oh, it's such a privilege to have you here. And the reason is because they are the lead singers of a band called Randomonium. And when I go in different areas and I find out, I'm like, I love live music, like, oh, where's, good bands. Everybody, hands down, like, you got to go listen to Randomonium. They are like the top band in
That's
upstate
so
South
nice.
Very nice.
Thank
Carolina.
you.
Appreciate that.
They did. And I tell you what, I was not disappointed. I've seen you guys, I think 3 times so far, including a Pink Floyd tribute, which, by the way, if you love Pink Floyd, you would love this because it's almost like you're watching them. But
Oh,
you
thank
guys
you.
do a great job. And they have a great backstory. Neil, I love backstories. And they have a great backstory, which I'll let them tell, and how they got started. And we'll go from there. So, again, welcome. And let us know how Randomonium started.
All right. Well, Sean, I'll let you start this one.
Okay, so well, I mean, it's sort of the child of both of us. We got married. It's going to be 19 years this December,
Mhm.
and we were both lead singers in our own
In
world.
former, yeah, and
And
before we were
yeah,
married, we did the singer thing. Yeah.
and we did more or less karaoke for our first few years of our marriage because it was difficult for us as the sort of lead singer ego to work together.
What are you talking
So
about? We don't have egos at all. We're
so we could
completely humble.
we could pull off singing, a little bit of karaoke. But then eventually we said, let's just get over it and let's give it a shot. And so we, 10 years ago, this
Mhm.
past summer, we decided to try this open mic event with a guitarist.
Yeah, our friend. So,
Yeah.
some context
Yeah.
about our third member of our founding trio. He was my parents' neighbor, and if you meet Atticus, his name is Atticus. He is one of the most larger than life people on the planet. He's got such a big personality, and he had always expressed interest in playing live music. And Sean had, expressed interest in doing something like that. And so I was like, well, why don't we talk to Atticus? And we jammed a little bit. And like Sean said, we did our first open mic night, and the rest is, I guess, sort of history.
Yeah, and so when we did that open mic night, because I think it was, if I recall correctly, it was a competition of some sort.
Yeah, it was Smiley's in Greenville does every Monday a very established open mic. And so they were doing a competition for local bands to give them an actual gig at Smiley's, which is a really cool idea because you give, bands that are starting out the opportunity to kind of get used to that playing music in front of other people feeling. And so we actually were signed up to do that competition.
And so you had to have a name, and we had discussed a few names in the previous weeks, and finally we was like, okay, we've got to do it. And one of those was it was between probably Rando and Randomonium.
Yeah.
And ironically, most of the people that come to see our shows call us Rando anyway. So
Well, Randomonium is a little hard to spell.
Yeah,
I mean, we've seen a couple
Yeah.
of very interesting spellings of that name. But it was cool because we were about to go on stage for the first part of the competition when we were our original acoustic trio, about to perform, and we didn't have a name. And, Sean kind of just like zoned in on that name seconds before we had to get up on stage.
Well, I mean,
So it
the
was
big
dramatic.
the big thing about that is it sort of gives you a vision into kind of what made the first trio pretty special, which was that we just have such an eclectic
Yes.
love of music, and it really crosses genres, it crosses decades, it crosses tastes, of
Yeah,
various.
I think like one of the coolest things about being in a band that plays a lot of different styles of music, and like Sean said, that was always the case, even in the beginning when we were playing mostly acoustic shows, exclusively acoustic shows. We've just noticed that we are able to reach so many different people because people love music, and because we're in the Spotify age, people like lots of different kinds of music. And so because of our variety, we've been able to kind of like reach out to people. People will bring their kids to shows, which I think is really cool. So I don't know. I just think it's a great way to build community and to kind of like forge bonds between people.
And I
Right.
think I think though, in the Spotify age, the one thing that Randomonium has that Spotify really doesn't represent as much is that it's a shuffle deck.
Yeah.
So it's like the idea of, yes, it's a variety of music and it's music we pick, but it's you don't really know. Like it could go from John Denver to Alice in Chains,
It's
that
actually
kind
it's
of.
true because even though, yes, obviously shuffle is an option in Spotify,
Yep.
I feel like the algorithm, and maybe like, maybe somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but I always feel like it's a little bit predictable, whereas we really do try to keep it kind of unpredictable. So
And
yeah.
you're right. They're trying to market to a certain audience. As we're
Yes.
talking algorithm as a marketer, I am. And the algorithm is going to push what's really the most popular on specific thing and just put it together that way.
And really the
That's
most
how that,
obvious choice too. Yeah.
yes.
Absolutely.
And that's the same way in social media. The most controversial posts are going to show up on the feed before something else. It's just
So
how it is.
yep.
And I guess that's the way they think they should make the algorithm work. They at least have made changes in algorithms before had the millions of followers just to get views. A lot of platforms have changed in that way. So
it does seem like they're up to something different every week. And I'm like, hey, I thought I'd got this thing cracked, but apparently
no, it's not. You have to use AI. Here's my tip for you guys. I'm sure you have AIs, both go ahead and type in become my Spotify coach to build my following on Spotify listens, and just have it completely niche to what you are, and it will give you exactly the algorithm you want to run all the time, and
Wow.
for
Well,
your listings and everything.
I know that AI is obviously controversial, but we have found it to be a pretty useful tool for some things. So that's for sure.
You should definitely try it that way. You'll see,
Okay.
and then they'll tell you, how can I blow it up on Spotify? How can I increase my listens by X?
Okay.
And they'll
Interesting.
tell you.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah, we definitely will.
Yeah.
Thank you for the advice.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
So
Yeah. See, you walk away with something else from the show.
I love it. Well,
Yeah.
it's a great opportunity. So thank you guys
Yeah.
again so much for having us. Yeah.
Oh, we love it. You mentioned about connecting with the community.
Oh yeah.
What you guys do that is different from most other bands, I've noticed, is you both get out into the audience
Oh
and
yeah.
you walk around and you
Mhm.
put the mic. I mean, you play some songs that people know the words to, and you go around, you put mics, and people are there singing and they're doing the selfies.
The teachers, it's the teachers in them, and
Yeah.
3 teachers are on this show. I'm a former teacher myself, so I understand exactly how you are able to interact with people. When I was on Clubhouse, Sherry, that's what I would do. Is I literally would monitor the rooms the best out of anyone, because I'm a teacher. So they know how important interaction is. Because as teachers, if we have crickets when we're in the classroom,
Yeah.
we're done.
It's totally true.
It's true, but I think there's a couple things that sort of contribute to that, at least from our background. And I would say for Heidi, having a family that's just they're all talented, they're all like musical. It is definitely like the sound of music in her family. And
I am eldest of 8 siblings.
Eldest of 8.
So he's actually not that much of a stretch.
And for me, like, it's like the dinner theater that like my parents used to take me to, where you're out there eating dinner and then, the actors come out into the, I always, that was something that I loved, because you break in the fourth wall and you feel like you're a part of the action, and it's a kind of a, I mean, what makes people still love Rocky Horror Picture Show. It's like, oh, you're all of a sudden you're part of the movie now, and
which I mean, now because we live in an age where people focus so much on immersive experiences, high energy experiences. I mean, you really do have to like interact with your audience, because there's so much competition out there for people's attention. So
you bet.
Well, when Neil said he would get out in the room and walk around, you got to put everything in perspective there. He's 6'10", so I'm sure he got.
Yeah, and so I already knew, but I learned from first days of school, Henry Wong, how important it is in the classroom to be all over the classroom, not just in one spot.
Oh yeah, for sure. You can't just be the sage on the stage.
That's right. Yeah.
No, but it's awesome. I mean, the band, the audience really bonds with you that way. and it's really, it's wonderful, and everybody's taking selfies and singing in the mic, and it's great. So keep it up.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah, I love that part about you guys. And so you've got an event coming up that you're excited about.
Oh yeah. No, this is probably, I mean, you've been to our Pink Floyd tribute, so you know that that's a pretty big show, but this one is something completely different for us. And actually, I'm going to let Sean once again, since you did come up with this idea, so I'm going to let you start the conversation on this one.
Well, we did in the last couple of years, we started this thing called Rocktober Fest. And so we decided we do to sort of give a theme, give a shape, because if you have just event,
yeah, you have
and
to have a
that's
theme
it.
in order to plan it,
you
so
know,
that it has some kind of structure. So, and the reason, by the way, I feel like I need to clarify that it's Rocktoberfest is the first show that we did was in October.
yeah, that's why it's
But in the following years, we had to move it to November because of one of our members who takes a little October sabbatical every year. So
Rocktober and November
yes,
is what we call it.
Rocktoberfest in November. So, but Sean was saying that we had themes the last couple of years, which were
So we did there were Pink Floyd themes. The first was Dark Side of the Moon. Then we did The Wall. And then we had discussed doing Wish You Were Here. And some of the band members were like, okay, is this going to be a little anticlimactic, including myself? Because
by the way,
was all on board.
I was so on board with it, but I'm glad that we decided to go a different direction after it happened.
So this was over the summer. I was doom scrolling, and came across the fact that it was the 40th anniversary of Live Aid, and I said, Heidi, okay, just listen to me for a second. We don't have to do this, but here, I'm just going to throw this out there. What do you think? And she's like, I know, I think she was resigned, and when she heard it, because she realized,
I mean, Live Aid, like,
is probably pretty fun and dynamic, and everyone would be kind of into.
Well, and I think, people like something fresh, but also like Live Aid was such a giant, epic moment for music and television and philanthropy.
Culture of the 80s, like that, the 1985, movies, videos, TV.
And doing it for such a great cause. And the fact that, I mean, one of the things that Randomonium we've prided ourselves on is a diverse set list. And what better than the biggest music festival of the 1980s to showcase a diverse set list? So it was kind of an obvious choice. So what we're doing is on the 22nd of this month, so not a whole lot of days, we're going to be performing some selections from Live Aid at the Radio Room in Greenville. We're going to be doing this with a philanthropic angle. So we're going to be donating a portion of the proceeds to a local charity called Greenville Together, which fights homelessness in the area. It seems like we don't have Bob Geldof working with us, so we decided the local level would be a little bit more achievable.
Yeah.
So
that works to get people proper housing and everything, so that they can get moved in the right. So and we from the beginning I was like, this is brilliant on from the level of music, but it's also brilliant because wouldn't it be great to do something around Thanksgiving, moving towards Christmas, that is in the spirit of this great festival, and not just let's do music, yes, of course, but
music with with that humanitarian kind of like helping other people, which
it's perfect timing to do this.
Absolutely. And it worked out so well, and there's just been so many things about it that have just fallen in the right direction, and now we just hope that the event itself is successful.
So who performed at Live Aid?
So many people.
A lot, yeah.
So remind me. Okay, I'm an 80s guy. I'm 52, so I'm an 80s guy. It's funny, it's been an 80s theme week for me. So I just had Rhonda Shear on. I had Hollywood from Glow on today, and
wow, that's
Rhonda
so
Shear.
cool.
And then yesterday, if my brain will start going to who the heck did I interview? Oh, I had Bob Marley's daughter. So we really having kind of a 70s 80s theme music type of theme today. So it always happens that way too. I don't know. I don't plan it. It just happens. But tell me who performed at Live Aid.
So let's just say this: there were two sets that day. One in Wembley Stadium in London, and one in Philly.
Yes. So So there was obviously a lot of the people that performed at Wembley were British, but I think one of the things that's in the forefront of people's brains right now is the Queen performance. Because if you've seen the movie Bohemian Rhapsody, the scene where they kind of after a hiatus return to the stage and like totally kill it at Live Aid. So a lot of people have that on their mind. Phil Collins was one that performed not only at Wembley, but he flew to Philadelphia to also be a part of the concert immediately after that. So talk about like a total boss. I mean, amazing. And then of course,
Duran Duran,
Elton John, the Hooters, the Pretenders, like so many.
It's kind of hard to
choice reunited for this. Led Zeppelin. So
yeah, a lot of bands that hadn't played a while together did the Who.
Yeah, the Who. That was a pretty iconic moment too. So I mean, one of the most difficult things about this, and I know you agree, is when we had to narrow down what we were actually going to play. So we also have a couple of like deeper cuts from a couple of artists that you might not remember, but once you hear them, you're going to be like, I can't believe I forgot how awesome this artist was. So,
and that's kind of the spirit of what we like to do too. The walking the tightrope between the most obvious song ever that everybody does, and then a deep cut that nobody cares about. Only like 3 people out of 100. The song that is right on that edge of like, wow, I forgot how great that song was.
Maybe it only ever reached like number 17 on a countdown, but it resonated.
It's just it's a forgotten hit that just people don't play or never cover. And that's what's a fun challenge for us. But the Live Aid thing, the coolest thing about it is that, but then you have the backstory of how it all got started, which was Bob Geldof, as Heidi remembered.
Of the Boomtown Rats. Yeah.
Do They Know It's Christmas Band Aid? He saw this BBC video, British broadcast video of the famine in Ethiopia. And he was so moved by it. He's like, this is ridiculous. Nobody's doing anything about this. Like,
yeah. And him and his partner, Paula, worked together to kind of like, they were like trying to do some individual contributions. And then, Bob Geldof just started calling people, which, you have to admire that drive. He was like, because, the Boomtown Rats are an amazing band, but like they didn't have, the same influence as say Lionel Richie, who, did something similar in America.
But that spurred the Americans wing of it, which is We Are the World.
Yeah. USA for Africa. Yeah.
And so and then it's all culminates there at
Live Aid. Yeah. So it's just like so many great stories. And to anybody out there who's listening, who'd like to learn more about Live Aid, you can find, there's a great 2-part documentary about all the mechanics behind it. And even even Live Aid, the second concert that they had that was in the same vein as that, which you can find on Amazon. And there's also the Greatest Night of Pop, which you can find on Netflix, which is all about the recording of We Are the World. Like both are just fun to watch.
The backstories of those are really interesting.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So
Sherrie, they are amazing. And how'd you just went up to them after the concert and said, hey?
Well, I did the concert because there's so many people. I mean, it was a full house. It was a huge area, pretty much standing room only. But then I saw them afterwards, and I went up to, I think before the show, and I'm like, hey, you guys are awesome. So that's how, I went up and asked them, and so we exchanged information, and here we are today.
Yeah.
I think it's great.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely, we love talking about this stuff. So, let us know if we're going a little overboard.
No, you're not, because it's entertaining, and it really is theme based. I have to think about who I have interviewed. I have to go to a list of Live Aid and the other, if I had the honor of interviewing anyone that was on either of those. And I don't know if I have, and that's where it'll have to, was Chicago in this? Because I interviewed Chicago.
Chicago was not, although that would have been, Chicago is amazing. I like the early Chicago that's more progressive, but I also love poppy Chicago. So that was probably a fun interview.
Yeah.
That was Thanksgiving Day parade one of those years when I worked with them. I work with NBC and interview that do those tours. Yeah. So, but I'm trying to think of different people. I'll have to look at the list. Yeah. Live Aid and the other, pull up who was Live Aid performers. Well, Sherrie asked a question.
why I asked the question. So, guys, you're up in Greenville. You travel out,
Yeah,
outside
some.
of Greenville,
Mhm.
and yeah, I find it interesting. You were playing in grocery stores and coffee
Yeah.
shops when you first got it.
We
I'm
we
like, despite not small beginnings, right? So, you guys, you did great, and it got you your fan base, and so, people are listening and like, man, how do I get a hold of this group? And they can find you on Facebook, Randomonium. They
Absolutely.
can see videos of your stellar performances. But if they wanted to reach out to you, how do they do that?
The easiest way probably is through Facebook or through Instagram. A lot of times we start relationships with venues and like potential clients just by getting a DM, which is always kind of cool. And I think one of the amazing things about technology for a musician is how much more of a reach you have. Now, of course, also means there's a lot more noise. So, that's kind of like the balance you have to navigate. But I would definitely say sending us a message on Facebook or finding us on Instagram is good. We also have a website that gives you the opportunity to email us if that's your preferred method. You can just go to therandomentertainment.com and you can read about what we do and some of our side projects. We have a 90s band, we've got an 80s band, so there's a lot going
That's right.
on that
Yacht
website.
rock,
Yacht rock,
totally.
absolutely. So I would say those are probably the best ways. And we are trying to expand our geographical base a little bit. So now would be a great time to reach out and say, hey, Rando, come to our town. Because we would love to, we love Greenville, but we've been playing here for 10 years and it's probably time to mix it up a little bit. So,
And there you go.
so
I'm
Yeah.
going through the list and I don't see any. There's a lot of performers. Wow.
I know,
Yeah.
right?
In both places. Yeah. No one I interviewed. Okay, so that's a list. How many are still
There you go.
live? Now, dead or alive? That'll be another.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well,
That's right.
that's
Yeah.
the thing is that you
God.
look at the list and I don't know. There's a couple of them. I just can't believe they're gone. Like I listened
Yeah.
to George Michael sing and I'm like, how could that man not be with us anymore?
I know.
So
Yeah.
I know it.
it's
And
hard to
Feels like
believe.
All
So
right.
and
Okay.
Queen.
yeah, I know. Freddie Mercury had one of the most unique voices ever.
Well, and part
I
of it,
totally agree. Like one of the best male voices ever.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
and part of this really is rather than just going, we like certain music, let's play it. It's maybe grandiose to say it, but we're sort of curators of the classics. We don't want these to be lost.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the feeling of not just that we're playing the song, but that people are almost at a live performance of these songs. I mean, this is what, that's one of the best type of compliments we
the live
get.
energy of the song. And actually and I'm sorry to interrupt, but I want to make the point too, that the great thing about playing a Live Aid tribute is while we have a lot of nerdy musicians in our band that love to try to duplicate the studio sound, we get to do something that's like, it's very freeing to be like, this was a live performance. It wasn't perfect. Things went horribly wrong. Now, we're not saying anything's going to go horribly wrong at our show, but we're saying that the live kind of looseness is going to be a lot of fun to try to duplicate for this show. And it's going to give us a little bit, maybe we could be a little bit more relaxed about it. Maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. So.
That definitely. So you're saying you're trying to branch out. Is that more thinking about the Spotify streams or just get your band out there worldwide?
Kind of both.
Both,
Kind
yeah.
of both,
So I mean, we do originals as well, and but I mean, we've kind of looked at this all along the way. As our first career really has been teaching for a long time,
Yes.
and we've let it grow organically. It's not like we've tried to get out there and we just haven't. It's just that we've gone like, okay, how do we manage the amount of energy it's going to take to do our job teaching and sort of
also
branch
try
out.
to be successful at doing the music thing.
I did that thing, and then I thank goodness my school closed, one Catholic school, and that was it. And then I ended up going into trying to do the tutoring business still while trying something else, and then somehow the show came, and there you go.
Cool.
And but the show was during when I was teaching 15 years ago. I was still teaching on December 6th. 15 years ago is when I started my show.
Wow. Well,
Cool.
congratulations.
20,000 interviews later or more. I have to get the whole tabulation. That's what happened.
That's
I don't think,
awesome.
and I also don't think people realize like how disciplined you need to be to have a successful podcast, because it really is just being consistent over and over again and not skipping and just doing it until it gets good and then you continue after that.
Right. And that's what I did. And it was more radio, not
Yeah.
podcasting. That podcasting, I wish I would have been able to jump into that with like quick and dirty tips, which was really hot on Apple when Apple first launched. It was very hard to get on Apple.
Oh,
That
yeah.
was at the beginning. And I had my podcast on a website. And if I called it a podcast, and I couldn't wait for people to listen to the radio to it. So we've gone through so many different generations, and Netflix
Yes.
just announced, by the way, that as Radiate is also going to launch podcasting, because I'm
Wow.
helping Radiate do that. They're launching podcasts on Netflix soon.
That's totally
So they're going to go and curate podcasting. They're going to try to compete in that end. Just came out last week, and this is right when I was looking to bring a bunch of podcasts on streaming. So go figure.
Wow.
Netflix
Well,
must be listening.
it's definitely evolved so much. I mean, it's been crazy to see how podcasting has become so much more prevalent. But I will say there's a lot of mediocre podcasts out there. And so when you're able to be like established and feel like you've built that, that's really saying a lot, I think.
I think the hardest thing would be to find a zone where it's not something that's a good idea for 6 months, but it's a good idea for a decade. I mean, that's the hardest, like, to figure out a way of podcasting that can build on itself and new ideas become, because you have the original idea is a great idea. So you can, bring all kinds of
Something that
things.
you can talk about for longer than 6 months, basically. So
yeah. And there's so many topics and so many things. And that's why I wish internet radio didn't die. It's still a couple internet radio stations are out there. And I think it's going to come back once all the terrestrial die. Internet radio will be back.
yeah.
And that we're going to always go through these things. There's one internet radio station that it syndicates us on all the radio networks. So we want to thank them, AM/FM 247. But however, the fact is that internet radio was the game I was playing 15 years ago. I wanted to dominate internet radio and get syndicated everywhere on terrestrial internet. And now podcasting has come up. And honestly, the way people get podcasts distributed to bigger masses is marketing and spending a lot of money. And they don't get much out of it. So for people who are thinking they're going to get rich on podcasting, there's other ways to get rich on podcasting, but you got to contact storehousemediagroup.com to find out more information. Again, where can we find info on you guys? This is such a fine conversation. I enjoyed it.
No, thank you so much. So again, our website, all of our socials, you can also find us on Spotify. Like Sean said, we did start writing some originals a few years ago. And we haven't really done our due diligence in marketing our Spotify very well. So if
Next year, probably.
Next year, will be the year of Spotify. But you can find us on Spotify as Randomonium. We have a few originals on there, and we are going to be heading back to the studio early 2026 to add more to our arsenal. So I would say that's where you can find us. So
all right, sounds good. And
Awesome.
go to storehousemediagroup.com for everything in media and marketing. Take care, guys.
Take care.
That was the special simulcast.